Here we go. Here we go.
If you could change any choice you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of the Inspired Choices Show, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
That's right. It's me. Hello, everyone. Welcome so much to tonight's show. I'm excited to challenge you to share some insight, some personal insight, and some business sense about our topic tonight. So, tonight we're talking all about debt, how to dig your way out of debt. A lot of people do not dig this conversation or this topic, but I find that most often, people have been at this place one way or another. I certainly have been there, and I have been very successful in changing things for myself. And I would love to be able to contribute that to you or someone that you love as well. So let's talk first of all about who am I and why do I have the authority to talk about this? So I'm Christine McIver. I am a business optimization expert. I work with primarily entrepreneurs who are starting out in their business or they've been in their business for some time and are really not hitting the objectives that they desire to hit. I love to dig into where they have new opportunities that they're missing out on, where they're frustrated or they feel really lost in the sea of business. They just want to do what they do really well, but the rest of it makes them a little crazy, which impacts their bottom line. I'm also the CEO of the Inspired Choices Network. That's our home station, wherever you're listening from. And I would love for you to come on over to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com, click on the menu bar where it says chat room, and come join us in the chat room because I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. I'm going to be inviting your responses that will really assist me in assisting you when it comes to the topic of debt. So, if you're someone out there who is struggling, who is desiring more, who's determined they're going to change their financial situation and they need support, not somebody telling them what to do, but support and tools, do reach out to me. My email is christine@inspiredchoices.ca. We'll have a conversation. We'll see if we are a match for each other. I'll talk about what I can do with you. And together we will create a plan to move you forward. It's as easy as that. And if it's not a match, or if what we talk about doesn't really resonate with you, no problem. I give everyone 30-minute conversation so we can get to know each other and see if really working together would be a benefit for both you and I. All right. So now let's jump into tonight's show. Again, we're talking about dig your way out of debt. So I'm just going to read the show notes to you to really give you an idea of where we're going to go tonight. And then we're going to jump right in. So, how in the world do I get out of debt? Have you ever said that? Have you ever felt like you were in that place? Does that question keep you awake at night? Maybe you're struggling to do your best, but that's just not cutting it. A lot of people have found themselves most recently in this space with what took place with COVID and then the aftermath of the economy. But that doesn't mean that it has to take you down. So there's so many ways that to escape this cycle of debt. And during the episode, we're going to talk about understanding the debt landscape, which can be very overwhelming. And in fact, when I say the word debt, I want you to just check in are you trying to avoid it? Are you trying to like look away? You don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear another person. That's a clue as to what's going on for you and possibly one of the reasons that you may be in financial difficulty. We're going to talk about having a mindset shift. We're going to talk about creating a budget, but I create a budget in a very, very different way. We're going to talk about tackling high interest debt, building an emergency fund, which I have a different name for as well, and about increasing your income, because that's the ticket, isn't it? To have more income to offset where you are at with your income, with your debt. So, first and foremost, I want to ask you this question. What do you believe about yourself and the debt you are in? So, primarily, what do you believe about yourself? When you think about yourself being in debt, what does that ego, that saboteur, that negative voice, what is it saying to you? Do you find yourself feeling embarrassed? Or does shame come up when you think about that? What about humiliation or regret? I know when I was in debt and I was really struggling, I didn't want to talk to anybody about it because I was embarrassed. And then when I shared it with someone, I felt humiliated. And I had a lot of regret about the choices that I made. Do you have any regret about the choices that you made? And are you using them to define how bad you are with money? It's not true, by the way. Any of those negative voices, they're not true. And you know they're not true when it feels really heavy when you say it. When something is true, there's a very light, easeful energy to it. It's not good or bad. It's not heavy or light. It's just ease. But if you're saying any of these things, if you're feeling any of these things and they feel heavy, or you get like a contraction in your chest or in your stomach, or you want to run away, know that that is your body's way of saying, hey, this isn't true. No, we're disagreeing with that thought. Now, that alone is part of your mindset shift. This is some of the tools that I really want you to pay attention to, because these simple tools I'm going to share with you tonight are going to start to be a game changer for you. But here's the thing. You got to make a choice. Now, if you're feeling any kind of shame or regret around the choices you have made in the past, you may feel like you're really bad at making choices. And if you're really bad in your mind, you think, at making choices, then making future choices just in your own mind may be like, no, I'm really bad at this. I don't want to make a choice, because any choice I make, I always make bad choices. All right. How many of you out there are feeling this right now, or can really identify with some of the things that I'm saying? If you can, I want you again to just check in. When I said any of those things and you agreed with them or you've experienced them, have you also gotten a very heavy feeling? Have you gotten a tight stomach? Have you gotten a tightness in your chest? If so, then guess what, my friends? It's not true. It's absolutely 100% not true. Now, I absolutely know that when we experience any of these strong feelings or emotions, they feel damn real. When someone first told me, Christine, that's not real, that's not true, I was like, what the hell do you know? Of course it's real, because I'm the person experiencing it. I fought and fought with the person that was trying to assist me. Now, not fought against them, but fought for my point of view. So if you have a point of view that you're bad with money, if you have a point of view that you make terrible choices when it comes with to money, if you have a point of view and any of that is heavy, contraction feeling, please know it's a point of view, a belief that you have bought. If you've listened to any of my episodes, you will have heard me say this before. You came here in body to have joy and have a wonderful experience. If you are experiencing anything other than that, you have bought into a negative belief system. And a belief is what? A belief is just a thought you keep thinking. All right. So that's the very first thing is we really have to start to look at what's coming up for you. What are the things that keep coming through? And I wanted to dive into this part first because as we start to pull these belief systems apart and unpack the truth and the lies within them, you're going to be able to hear more of what I say as we go forward in this episode. Okay. So that's very, very important for you to understand that and get that. So let's jump into any anger or fear that you have. Do you have fear driving you when it comes to your business, or fear driving you when it comes to possibly invoicing your customers or your clients, setting your prices, raising your prices? Or any fear come up when you think about paying your bills? Do you have fear come up or worry or anger come up when you even want to go and look at what you owe? All of that, all of that is lies. All of those things are lies. And I'm not saying that you're not experiencing fear, but it's not real in that you don't have anything to fear. But what you do have is old points of view or old beliefs that are driving this. It's like saying, I do really well when I eat eggs every single solitary morning for breakfast. I do. My body loves eggs. We have eggs every single day. I am 75 years old. I'm not really, I'm just making this up. I am 75 years old. Don't I look good for 75? I am 75 years old. And for 75 years, I have had eggs, 3 eggs every single morning for breakfast. Do you know what that says? That says that you're not listening to change that may be required. And you're certainly, if you're a woman and our hormones change over time, things change for men's bodies as well. If you have a male body or a female body, change is going to happen in your body. So if you have a point of view that you always have to have 3 eggs for breakfast, you're probably not listening. You probably have a very strong point of view that if you are not willing to be open to a different perspective, you may not learn why you have stomach pains, or you're putting on excessive weight, or you have high cholesterol, or all the things. I'm not a health person, so I'm just making this up as an example. The same can be true when it comes to finances, money, and debt. So if you have a strong point of view, you've got to be willing to challenge that. Have you ever challenged your point of view? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I believe that? Why do I believe that? It reminds me of 2 little boys that play together. And one little boy has dark skin and one little boy has white skin, and they play together. They're very, very good friends. And then when they go to school, the boy that has the very light skin suddenly starts treating his dear friend very, very poorly. And when asked, why are you doing that? The little boy doesn't know why, except that he had overheard other boys that he wanted to be friends with say the same thing to that little boy. It's something that he bought into, and it's things that we buy into. And here's the thing about strong belief systems, or long holding on to belief systems. We don't even know where they started. We don't even know when they began. And those ones are the toughest ones. So if you are having these beliefs come up and they are really strong and you're having a very difficult time being open to a new possibility, I'm going to challenge you to set them aside for tonight in hopes that possibly there will be some information here that's really going to change things for you and your finances. And here's the thing. You're the only person that can change this. Nobody else can do this. You can get money from people, you can win the lottery, but you're always going to go back to the same place financially, the same place in relationships, the same place with anything in your life if you're not changing your point of view. And changing your point of view requires you to challenge your beliefs. Just ask yourself, why do I believe that? And just sit with that. When did that begin? When did I start thinking that way? And really just sit with it. I got a little story I'm going to tell you about after our break. So stick around, my friends. You're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and we've got lots more to share with you. So do not go away. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
We are talking all about debt tonight, my friends. If you've just joined us, tonight's show is Dig Your Way Out of Debt. And we started out in the first segment, if you weren't here, talking about mindset and about what comes up even when you say the word debt. Please go back and listen to that, because that's a very important starting point for where we want to be able to take you when you're coming out of debt. Okay, so we need to understand the debt landscape. And it's your landscape of debt. Is this something that, when it comes to your debt, are you paying things at the very last minute, paying when, you get threats or telephone calls or whatever the case may be? And I understand that it can become very overwhelming and you just want to avoid it at all costs. And the cost is usually to you with interest. So understanding your landscape is a matter of really knowing what you owe. And this may seem very, very silly, but a lot of people do not have a total picture of what they owe. We need to understand, in order for a change to be able to happen, and in order for you to be able to dig yourself out of debt, you need to know exactly what is outstanding. So even the word debt can send us into a fury. So going forward, I'm going to avoid using that word as much as possible, because that's part of changing your perspective on all of this as well. So what you want to understand very thoroughly is exactly what is outstanding. What is the financial obligation that is outstanding? It's a very simple thing for you to be able to get to this place of understanding and really get a handle on it. The thing that I really strongly suggest is you gather all of your invoices that are outstanding. And if you've been doing avoidance, you probably have 7 or 8 envelopes from the same company. go through those or have someone work with you. This is something that I've actually done with my clients, is go through them and take out the most recent invoice. Take out the most recent and rip up, and I mean rip up the rest of them along with the envelope from the most recent and put it in the garbage. There's a reason for this that I'm getting very specific. Do this with everything that is outstanding. And what was maybe a pile before ends up being just a few pieces of paper. Now, this is part of the psychology, because when you now look at this smaller list of invoices, you immediately start to feel relief in your body, because what's been going on in your mind oftentimes is a much scarier story than the truth of what is there. Now, we haven't talked about the amounts yet, and that's irrelevant, because first we want to start to bring the power back into you. You have the power to change this. You really do. And it's learning to change your belief system and then start to show yourself the power that you have. Being able to do this specific thing and getting to these invoices and then starting to list them, I would strongly suggest you list them in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. And that way you can easily use the additions, you can do divisions, you can figure out how to do subtractions easily. That is something that you could end up playing with, and that starts to get exciting. This is the part that starts to get really exciting when you're doing this. But the first thing you want to do is you want to list out all of your outstanding obligations. You want to list out what the interest rate is on each of those particular things. That's going to become important in a little bit. And then you want to list out your monthly obligations. So if you're talking about credit cards, I'm not talking about the $10 a month. You, I'm sure, are well aware of the fact that that minimum amount is going to keep you locked into debt for many, many years to come. Okay. So you definitely want to look at, if possible, can you pay 5 to 10% on that outstanding balance per month? If you can do that and just put this down as a target, put this down as a target in this list, that's going to make all the difference in the world. All right. So that is a very important thing, that we want to really be able to face the reality. This is you taking back your power. This is you saying, all right, this is where I'm at. This is the facts. And now I'm choosing to step into this, even if I'm still scared. All right. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we want to, a lot of people talk about how you have these obligations. Finances are not an obligation. They're actually a choice. You chose to purchase something. You chose to sign a contract. You chose to do these things. I want, again, to give you back your power. And I want you to start saying, I am choosing. I chose this. I chose to purchase this. I chose to sign this contract. I chose this credit card. I chose this car. I chose this mortgage. And now I'm going to choose to definitely pay the entire thing off. When we start to see that we have the choice, you step back into your power. If you're talking about, I have this obligation, that's not fun energy. That's heavy energy. Go back and listen to last week's show, because I talked a lot about that mindset and about the heavy energy and the light energy and how that makes such a difference in what we are attracting. And trust me, the entire world operates on attraction, and it operates on energy. You know, everything is energy. Money is also energy, and money is fun and playful. Imagine how you feel when you have money, and you have the money and you purchase something that makes you joyful. That energy, money's energy, does not change from that. Money's energy does not suddenly become heavy because you don't have enough of it. That's not true. The opposite of wealth is not debt. The opposite of wealth is the absence of wealth. The energy of wealth, the energy of money, the energy of prosperity does not change. It's the absence of it. It is not debt. That is man-made, and that is what keeps us stuck in financial obligations, financial high debt, high long periods of time that we have to pay things. You know, something that someone taught me a couple years back was that the credit card company, the banks, the mortgage companies, all of these financial obligations, the mindset, when you have that financial obligation in your mind, these organizations that you are connected with, the credit card companies, mortgage companies, they push very hard to make you feel guilty. And they talk about it being, this is your obligation, you owe us this. And they do everything they can to try to shame you into paying them. But here's the facts. The fact is that they have no idea who you are. They do not know your heart. They do not know your creativity. They do not know your resourcefulness, and they do not know your determination. They only see you as a number. And you, my friend, are not that important to them at all. They are just going to do what they can to pressure you, but they're not sitting at home thinking about you. They don't have your name on their lips. They have no idea who you are. The whole financial game for organizations like this who have high interest, the whole game for them is, who else can we get money from? Who else can we push into paying us first? Do not buy into this shame. This was something that I absolutely dealt with, is shame. I felt like if people knew what I owed, and even talking to these organizations, I felt shame. And it's such a lie. Shame is a control mechanism that they use to get their money. They don't care about anything but that bottom line. That's not who you are. Yes, financial intelligence is something you want to strive for. Financial wealth, absolutely. It's all available to you. But what got you here, the mindset that got you into financial debt, is not the same mindset that's going to move you into financial wealth. And that's where I want to really take you. This is available to you, and you have no need to feel any kind of shame. So let's talk about the choices that you make. If you have listed down all of your financial obligations, that's great. The next thing that you want to do, and I strongly recommend that you do this for a minimum of 6 months. And if you would like a template of this, please do reach out to me. I would be happy to send it to you. So instead of a budget, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about your financial landscape. So on your financial landscape, you're going to list your income. Now, you can have there, if you get a regular paycheck, if you receive possibly income from the government, if you receive income, spousal support, child support, you can list that all down, and then you want to total that up. That's what your monthly income is. Now, it can also be an estimation. So if you're in your own business, estimate out what you are going to be bringing in every month. Then what you want to do is you want to have 3 columns. The first column, you're going to list out, we're going to have 4 columns. You're going to list out the financial obligation, whatever the name of that is. So let's put down credit card. Then you're going to put in the next column what your estimate is that you're going to pay that month. So let's go back to the $200. So you put in $200. Then you're going to put in, the next column is going to be your actual column. So that's what you're going to put in after you've paid that financial obligation that month. And then the fourth column is going to be the difference between what you're targeting and what you actually paid. You're going to do this for all of your financial obligations, both your fixed financial obligations, that would be your rent, your car payment, or your mortgage, anything that you have that you pay exactly the same thing every month, and that's not something that's going to change. Then you're going to have your variable expenses, and those are things like your food, gas for your car, clothes, gifts, internet, any of those other obligations that you have. And what this is going to do is you're going to add up these columns. So I suggest having a group of income, then a grouping of columns for your fixed assets, and then a grouping of those 4 columns for your variable assets or variable expenses. And so in each of these, you're going to total those. And then you're going to bring your income, you're going to list that down, then you're going to minus out your fixed assets, fixed expenses, and then your variable expenses. And then you're going to see the difference at what you should have at the end of each month after paying all of these financial obligations. Now, just stay with me for just another minute, and then we'll hop off to our next break. When you do this month to month, so make a sheet for each month. And when you do this, you're going to start to really understand what's coming in and what's going out. If you have an obligation, a financial obligation, and let's say all of your assets line up with all of your financial obligations line up and you are short $100, $200, $300 every month, that starts to give you insight into what is going to occur. Okay. And you can start to see this from your targeted amounts, right? So if you have, $5,000 income coming in each month, and between your fixed and variable expenses, you have expenses of 5,500, before you even pay them, oh, wait a second, I'm short $500 every month based on my mental understanding, not what's written down. See, that's what starts to go on is we keep thinking, well, we have more money because most of us are operating from, we look at the bank and we go, oh, there's still cash in there. And we forget about the automatic payments or the invoice that's going to come in the next week or two. While looking at your finances, and I strongly encourage you to look at your bank account every day, especially when you're on this trip to dig yourself out, you want to use this spreadsheet as your guide before those invoices come in. What that's going to do is you're going to say, okay, I've got to find, there's 2 ways to do this. I've got to find $500 some way. I either have to, and listen up, entrepreneurs, create something that brings $500 in every month, or I have to start to eliminate different things that are happening with my finances every month. I have to eliminate some items. I did this exercise with a client years ago, and this particular client was very attached to going to a certain grocery store. And she was very attached to what they delivered, what they had there, and the different pricing didn't really come across her mind because she wanted the quality. So I started to challenge her. What she really loved was the quality of the meat, the protein that they had, and their fresh fruits and vegetables. I said, okay, so what if you only purchase those at that more expensive store and the other items you purchased at a less expensive grocery store? Well, at first, she wasn't really thrilled about this, but she started to do this. And she was actually quite shocked at the difference month over month that what she was starting to save on her groceries. So that was one thing. Another thing might be gasoline. Another thing might be eliminating something that you're paying for that you don't think is a really big deal. This is where you got to get clear with yourself and you've got to decide what's most important to me right now. Getting out of debt or being a little sacrificing in the things that I desire to have right at the moment. This is super, super important. And this quote unquote budget, which it's not a budget, it's actually a tracking system to teach you to be financially intelligent. This tracking system is going to start to change everything for you. And the further um, in invitation that I will say to you is if you start to operate from cash and everything that you have to pay, you actually put in an envelope, like your grocery money, your gasoline money, your let's say you purchase it, let's say you smoke cigarettes. All of those things that you can purchase, that you physically go out to purchase, if you're using cash, when that cash is gone, you're done. You're done for the month. And I'll tell you something, operating from cash is going to make you much more intelligent, financial strength. You are going to be much more financially strong when you start to operate from cash only, because there's something about it physically being in your hand and knowing when it's gone, it's gone. You have to be making different choices. All right, we're going to jump off to our break. Don't go away. I've got so much more. I hope I can get through it all. Stick around, everyone. You're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver, here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right. We are talking about debt tonight. I'm not excited about debt. What I am excited about is about showing you that you can change this very, very, very quickly. So if you are in a space of the finances, the expenses, the debt has gotten so high that I don't think I can get out from under it, and you're being harassed, maybe it's time to make a decision about either having in Canada, we have a thing called having a consumer proposal. It's one step above having oh my God, my brain, bankruptcy, or actually having bankruptcy. There is no shame in doing either of these things. And I want you to understand that when you choose this, you get to have a clean slate. This is not about copping out. It's not an easy thing to do. There is work involved and there's years of building your credit back up. But I'm telling you that if you've gotten to a place where you are feeling it's starting to maybe affect your health, it's starting to affect your relationships, please consider this. Please consider what it could do for you and how you are really committed to changing this for your future. These are things that you can choose, and I would suggest choosing them once and learning a new way of being with money and with financial obligations so that you can really take advantage of the opportunity when you do this. There's no shame in this. This is something that I had to choose. And you know what? With all of the changes that happen with the economy and what goes on with jobs and with COVID, and maybe from years of, maybe financially things changed drastically, if a marriage changed, different obligations can really creep up on us without us being really in control when situations occur that are out of our choice. And so if you've done everything you can, this may be something you want to choose. Please know that there is no shame in that. There's many wealthy people who have chosen that and have gone on to change things for themselves. You being financially stressed does not add to your life, does not add to your business. It locks out creativity, it locks out clients. It really stops you from being able to move forward. So having this conversation, I'm serious, I'm advancing this opportunity to have this conversation with me to anyone, even if it's just the 30 minutes. Really look at the choices that you can be making that can change this. So that budget, quote unquote, target sheet that I'm talking about. And somebody in the chat room said this is a masterclass. It is a masterclass. I teach you this, how to do this and change things for yourself. It is something that can make such a huge, huge difference for you. And you've got to start there with starting to track things in a different way and starting to increase your financial intelligence. And that's what it really is. It is your financial intelligence. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want you to ask yourself these questions. What do I desire to create and experience with my finances? Sit with that like you would a desire list for the new year. What do I desire to create and experience with my finances? Also ask yourself, how do I desire to feel with my finances? These questions are incredibly important, and they start to set the stage for what you want to go and what you want to go through and how you want to change things. Now, let's go back to that financial sheet that we're talking about. Remember how I was saying you want to list everything down? Have that separate than the financial tracking sheet. Have all of your financial obligations and have your interest rates there. The next thing that you want to do is you want to begin to add a little bit of extra monthly payment to the higher interest rated financial obligations. Now, I can tell you when I started to do this years ago, I would put an extra $5. If I was paying $200 a month, I would put 205. And I would slowly start to pay this off faster and faster and faster. And the very cool thing, and you've probably heard this before, but the very cool thing is when you pay off the lowest interest rated financial obligation, then you take that amount that you were paying each month and you add it into the second lowest. When that first one's done, you add it into the second lowest. And now you're probably going to be able to double your payments on that second lowest. And within 6 months to a year, everything starts to change so, so quickly. If you can put an extra $10, if you can put an extra $30, what if you could double it? What if you really challenged yourself to double that payment every single month? It can change right before your eyes. You will not believe how quickly that will happen. So those high interest obligations are the things, especially the credit cards, that's when they are very, they create a lot of burden on you. This is where you create a lot of worry. And this is the strategy to really take the snowballing away from growing the debt to eliminating that debt. Snowball your payments. Snowball your payments in your favor. The next thing that I want to talk about is about creating a having fund. Now, a lot of us talk about having an emergency fund. Now, when you say emergency fund, you are saying to the universe, I'm ready for an emergency because I'm planning for it. What I want you to plan for is having money. One of the things that I do, my very first, when I started my business in 2008, the very first person that paid me with $100 bill, I took that $100 bill and I thought about that. I thought, this is really cool. This was really exciting for me. And I didn't have a wall particularly to put it on that people would walk in a store, you know how they do that. So I took that $100 bill and I put that $100 bill in my wallet. And what I said to myself every single time things got tight, I always have money. I always have money. I always have money. I always have money. And that $100 bill to this day, 15 years later, is still in my wallet. That $100 bill will never leave my wallet because that is my way of saying to myself, to saying to any negative thoughts that might come into my mind around finances, to saying to the universe, I always have money. The other really intelligent thing to do, especially if you're in your own business, is to start to take a percentage of your income and put it in a having account. Put in, if all you can do is start with 1%, take 1% of your income and open a separate account in a separate bank account is actually, bank rather, is even better. And start to put every single time you receive any kind of income, put 1% of that money in that bank account and watch that grow. It is so exciting. I know friends that have done this for a long, long time, and they have thousands and thousands of dollars in there, and they've only ever gone up to 10% of their income. And that having an account is for something large that you would purchase. So maybe it would be eventually be a down payment on a house, or perhaps you're going to buy someone a beautiful piece of jewelry, or you're going to invest in art, something that is going to be significant and that the value of that piece of significance always goes up. Okay. So that having an account means that even if you purchase something with it, you have invested in something that's going to grow in wealth. That's a very, very important piece. All right, we're going to go to our last break of the show. When we get back, we're going to wrap this up. Do not go away. You're listening to Inspired Choices. I'm your host, Christine McIver, on the Inspired Choices Network, and I hope you're enjoying this show. Stick around. We've got a little bit more for you.
Many of us make choices based on our past experiences or based on what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join the Inspired Choices show with business optimization expert Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know, but may not choose, that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back. She brings all her expertise to every show. Are you ready to create and live the life you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Oh, welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for clicking on and saying, yes, I want to hear what this lady has to say. Thank you for joining us in the chat room. And I know there's people listening other places as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, one thing I need to correct, because I was talking so fast, I didn't even realize that I said it, is you want to pay off the highest interest rated financial obligation first. Pay off the highest interest rate first. Now, if you're someone who needs even more momentum to start to feel some confidence, you may want to pay off the lowest financial obligation. Ignore the interest for just a minute. Pay off the lowest financial obligation. So if you have something that is, let's say, less than $1,000, do everything you can to pay that off quickly. That will start to show your mind and your level of confidence that you are making a dent in the financial obligations and you have the ability and the power to do that. You've got to ask yourself, okay, this is the highest interest debt, the highest interest financial obligation. If this is greater than $10,000, that's going to take you a bit of time to pay off. Again, I would love to talk one-on-one to really give you my insight into the actual facts. So ask yourself, do you need some momentum? Do you need to build up your financial confidence? Look at really some of the low-hanging fruit where you can get some strides happening. We only have a couple minutes left. I'm going to try to get through the rest of this, but do reach out to me. Send me an email, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Let's have a conversation. Let's change this. When you change your financial situation, you start to change the possibilities for others around you as well. As you become more financially knowledgeable, you can share that knowledge with others and you can create more income flow in the world and you can contribute to others as well. This is actually an obligation that each and every one of us needs to become more financially knowledgeable, because creating a world that we love and that brings us joy will make such a huge, huge difference. The last item that I want to talk to, and we will talk about this more next week. Next week's show is Investing Starts with I. So the last thing I want to talk about is increasing your income. Increasing your income is ideal. You still need to understand the financial mindset. You need to understand your finances, but you need to start to look at increasing your income. Whether you are working part-time, full-time, whether you have a business or not, increasing your income is going to be one of the quickest ways that you can start to make additional wealth come in so that you can change your financial debts. And starting to do that, this is a really cool thing that I heard someone recently talk about, is that what you want to do is before you make a financial choice, before you purchase something, you ask yourself, what do I need to create? What can I create that will pay for that desire? And when you start to operate that way, you start to really motor up your creativity and start to lean into new possibilities on what you can be creating. Even if it's something that you create to sell for $5, if you have 500 people purchase something for $5, that can be a huge game changer, even if it is only a small dent in your financial obligations. My friends, debt is a man-made term. Financial obligation is true. And also what is true is that you can change it, and you can change it quite quickly, but it starts with your mindset. It starts with your point of view. Please challenge yourself. Please ask yourself these questions that I've been asking, and know that this is within your grasp. It's within your ability. I want you to really tune in. Again, email me, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. I will see you next week for sure. And remember, my friends, you can always make another choice that is within your grasp. Get rid of that negative thinking. It's not serving you and it's not serving the rest of the world. Merry Christmas, everyone. Bye for now. See you.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you desire.